If you see any mist in my eyes, it's because I just got done watching Little House on the Prairie. And for those of you who've never seen that show, you should go find it. I just found that there's a 24/7 station about Little House on the Prairie. Now, this isn't what this talk is about, but for many of you who are my age, I just turned 59. I'm the same age as Melissa Gilbert, who plays Laura Ingalls, and that was by far my favorite show growing up. And it's really sad that when my husband and I have a free moment, because we haven't turned the television on in over 3 years, we just turned it off when that mockery of what happened at I'm not even going to begin to go. January 20th of 2021. Haven't watched the television since then. And every now and then he and I do sit down and say, well, let's watch a movie. And I'll hit Alexa, play a good Catholic movie. And it comes up 1947, 1951, black and whites. And I thought, how sad is that? The ones that do come up that are modern are about pedophilia or bad things happening in the church or someone who's making a mockery of the Catholic faith. And it's angering. And I realized that what we get fed, what we watch, has so much to do with how we see the world, with how we grow up, with how we are influenced. And I think about how that show, Little House on the Prairie, influenced me. And I'm reminded by it as I watch again that there is not a show that goes by that doesn't talk about God. And thank you for Michael Landon and his vision for that show as the producer. So I think about the things that my grandchildren watch today. First of all, what are their options? They're exposed to, they have really no good choices. You have 17, 15, 13-year-olds. And even now, cartoon movies made by Disney are things that they can't even watch. And I realized that their minds are being filled with things that my mind didn't even comprehend. I was 12 before I even I understood where babies came from. I had no need to know. I lived a life of relative innocence. My parents sent us to Catholic school. We still saw, troublemakers and stuff, but God talks to us about what we are to do. And he tells us, and I think of this verse in Deuteronomy 6:7. Now, what I'm reading here says, take to these words which I command you today. It says, keep repeating them to your children. In the version of the Bible that I have, it says, drill them into your children. Recite them when you are at home and when you are away and when you lie down and when you get up. Bind them on your arm as a sign and let them be as a pendant on your forehead. Drill my laws into your children. I love that show because they always point to God and they're coming up with a Bible verse and they're reminding the kids. And when the kids deal with someone who tried the show I just watched, killing puppies, putting the puppies in a bag with a brick and throwing it into the water, they make some godly association. When children were about to be separated and adopted by different families because their mom had died, they pointed to what's God's will. When the children get angry, here I am in my flesh, like, yeah, why don't you go telling that Mrs. Olson such and such? And then they come back to showing us the humanity, but then saying what would please God, being able to apologize, being able to forgive. Yes, I know it's a TV show, but it shows the humanity and it shows what we are supposed to do. I'm saying this because, well, first of all, I'll make a plug for the TV show itself. If you have nothing for your kids to watch, I will tell you this. My grandchildren who have watched garbage, things that I ask God to forgive them for their parents letting them watch, things that when my grandson, who's now 17, when he was 12 and 13, used to say, well, Grandma, there's an inappropriate scene coming, but it's okay. I'll speed through it. I was like, boy, you're the one that shouldn't be watching the inappropriate scenes along with me. So I'm sad that they've seen things that they shouldn't have seen, that they filled their minds. So I do my best to fill their minds with as much God as I can. But again, we can't jam it down their throats either. I think about this show. So when that 17-year-old watches the show, comes over and we put it on, he doesn't even act like he's too cool to watch it. They actually get the lessons from it. There was another verse that I wanted to remind you of because God is talking about feeding our minds. And it is Philippians, I believe it's 4, starting with 8. Finally, brothers, and I've mentioned this before, finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent and praiseworthy, fix your mind on these things. Think about these things. It says, fix your mind on these. Like, stay hyper focused on these things. Whatever you have learned or received or heard from me or seen in me, put it into practice, and the God of peace will be with you. What are you watching? Just because you're 30 or 40 or 70, are you filling your mind with things that are not praiseworthy, lovely, pure, holy? Are you just saying, look, I just need a fix. I just need to watch a movie? Does it have sex scenes in it? Does it have people shooting up? Hey, I'm not judging you. I love a good action movie. But when I realize what it's doing to my mind, when I see someone get shot up and now with special effects, you see blood splurting and heads cut off. And I said to myself, is that pure? Is that holy? Is that lovely? Because if I even take my mind off of what is good, pure, holy, lovely for a moment, it means it's not fixed. It's not fixed on those things. If it takes it an hour or two off to watch a movie that is not holy, that is not pure. It takes work, you guys. It takes work in this lifetime. I'm a parent. I know so many of us are like, take the tablet, go look at the tablet. Give me a break. So you're also not going to be judged for me when you do that. And I know you do your best to put the parental controls on it. Praise God you do. But I think the point of this video is not necessarily about our kids. It is about you and your mind. Are you fixing your mind on the good, pure, holy, lovely, true? And then are you drilling that into your children's heads? Not in a way that's like, stand in front of me and let's memorize these Bible verses. You can't go outside until you do. But when you talk about your meals and why we bless it, I listened to a podcast from Jesse Romero and really talked about in restaurants, for instance, there are people who will curse your food. There are witchcraft. There are the demonic. Have that conversation with the kids. I find with my grandsons, they love those kind of conversations. They love the things that draw the fight, the enemy, and the what? Yeah. Bless your food because you don't want the enemy to curse it. Make it age appropriate. But then to talk about God and your opportunities for when your children or your grandchildren start dating and what God thinks of purity and how beautiful the pure are to him and how he esteems virginity. So you can find a lesson in everything. And I'm asking you to ask God for the grace and the wisdom to fix your mind on it and drill it into your kids' heads, but in a way that makes it good and exciting and in a way that they want to hear it. Because I get it. You're in a world where you are fighting. You're fighting the garbage that's on TV. You're fighting the friends who are able to see things. A young man I visit at a middle school here, I'm not going to name the school even. When he was 11, he received images from another 11-year-old girl of her body parts. It's not good, pure, holy. It's an opportunity, though, to teach. Tell him why he shouldn't see that. Tell her why she shouldn't send them. I don't know if I'm making the greatest of points with this video as I'd like to. But I know that when I sat down and I watched that show and it made me cry and I saw the holiness, and of course, almost every show has them in church, worshiping God, praising God, learning a lesson. Maybe you could start with that. Start with letting your kids, your adults, your teenagers, even my husband, he won't admit it, enjoyed watching it with me. Heck, if there's another show that we could watch, sadly, they're all about 100 million years old, like the Waltons or Little House on the Prairie, which is as old as me, which is pretty much right up there with Moses. Let me know. Post it in the comments. What is something that I, as a 59-year-old, could watch and enjoy and see God? Or do I just turn off my TV forever? Which I've done for the most part. Where can I fix my eyes? Go to Mass. Go. We're going to see the darkness out there when you have to feed the homeless and do the things that need to be done. But while I do that, I am going to do my best to fix my eyes on everything good in that situation. Not necessarily a homeless being fed, but maybe the person feeding. Lord, you put food out there. I praise you. Lord, you put people out there who are willing to do the feeding. Lord, you put people out there who are humble enough to ask for the food. I don't know. Give me suggestions. All I know is when I saw that show, and I'm a junkie, I'm binging. Every single one of them has just made my heart think of God more. And that's the point of this. Do what makes your heart, your mind, your soul think of God more often. And if for you that means turning off the TV and only reading, then do that. And for you, it means, I don't know, putting down the cell phone, shutting it, and do that. Well, that's my thoughts. Hope it wasn't just rambling. I just want to please God and I want to fill my mind, and I'm hopefully helping you to fill your mind with things that are good and lovely and pure and of God. I don't want my mind tainted with anything that isn't of Him and about Him and praises Him, glorifies Him, and gets me to heaven. I'm Dr. Christine Bacon. Thanks for watching another informational Bacon Bit. And just like Little House on the Prairie, remember to live your life sunny side up.